Welcome students. Today, India is at crucial juncture where we have 800 million active internet users, half of whom are active consumers or customers of digital commerce. That means 52% of Indians actively pursue digital commerce either by buying something online or using their services. Under this crucial juncture, we are in dire necessity of a robust digital regulation and digital jurisprudence. So, without any delay, today let's discuss about digital competition and regulation in India. As we in earlier video discussed about digital jurisprudence and the kind of competitive law along with the digital rights with safeguards are being provided. We're not going to look it in detail. Just to recap, we are looking at safe harbor protection granted to many e-commerce sites and other tech gains. Along with this, as this is protection granted, let's today look at the broad framework about the scenario and necessity for these regulations to have. Digital space, unlike the brick and mortar, which means the physical space, has advantages like economics of scale. This economics of scale is because digital space, unlike physical space, has no depreciation of asset. That means when you construct a building, it depreciates, but when you construct a software or a server, it actually appreciates in return. It's a digital infrastructure, so analyzing the behavior of users, etc., it gets better and better instead of depreciation. Along with that, the operations, the per unit profit is very huge compared to the physical space. So, per unit profit is good. Of course, they have their advancement in technology. Then how to regulate this space is the challenge, and with which the union government has set up an expert panel of parliamentary committee which came up with its report, and it's about to transform into a law. Presently it's in bill format to regulate the digital space with digital competitiveness. Draft law is the thing which we are discussing today, and it has two kind of regulations. One is ex post regulation and ex ante regulations. Let's look at what these are actually and whether they suit to Indian conditions. When you say ex post, this ex post means let the uncompetitive practice happen. Let some kind of unethical thing happen, and then the concerned body, Competitive Commission of India, would come into play, and it would either levy fine or take some other action. This is what is existing today as per the present law. The proposed bill is actually expecting to create a framework of ex ante regulation. So this ex ante regulation, do we find somewhere else in the world? The answer is we find it in European Union's law. It is regulating as per its GDPR law, which has this ex ante regulation. And let's discuss what's the necessity to do that. The first thing, let's take with an example. Suppose a tech giant is going for deep discounts. And this is possible because it has huge sinking fund, which means it can take a risk. It can take a risk, and with this deep discounts, maybe Amazon, Flipkart, or some other e-commerce site is able to do that and kills the physical brick and mortar players. And once this act happens, even the ex post facto action is not enough to protect the players. Maybe that will prevent from happening it again and again to next players, but by the time the action is taken, already few players existed, and These exited players may feel it unfair because the action has been taken very late. That's the reason the next proposed law is expecting ex ante, which means take action well before the unethical practice happens. Okay? So, if this is proposed, as we discussed the necessity, what can be the danger if it's done? We need to prevent arbitrariness, because in the name of ex ante action, even a normal business can't be disrupted. That means you need to make sure a perfect framework to take action well before the unethical act is happening has to be more rational and objective enough to exactly hit the scenario. Is it clear? So, to eliminate the arbitrariness, the framework suggests to classify the players as financially beneficial, beneficiaries of economics of scope, and the regulation is different for both. When you say economics of scope, even the byproducts of the production are employed to produce something better. So this economics of scope regulation would be different. And of course, the bill is still in draft form. After detailed discussion and debate, it may get a new form and the transformation could be even better. Till then, just look at the kind of classification, and this financial beneficiary is completely about sinking fund. Because if there's a merger and acquisition happens, suppose PVR and Inox, which used to be competitors, if they both merge, will they kill the physical standalone theaters? Because the standalone theaters doesn't have as better infrastructure digitally as PVR Inox do. So these kind of scenarios are to be considered by Competitive Commission of India and also the parliament which makes the laws. This is necessary because in India there's a saying that the technology rapidly progresses but the lawmakers won't. The lawmakers always lag behind the actual technological developments, and which results in dangerous scenario where monopolies or duopolies exist and dominate. Hope you understood something else from today's video and your understanding has been better than the one which you had before watching this video. So that's all for today. Thank you.